WWE Saturday Night Main Event review for the July 12th episode of Saturday Night Main Event. I'm Brandon, one half of the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast. As always, let's cheers and talk about some wrestling, huh? Before we get started, I want to thank each and every one of you that stopped by the AEW All-In stream that we had. Yes, we did have a live stream watch along for that. And the Saturday Night Main Event watch along that we did later on in the night. What a great day of wrestling. There were some lows for Saturday Night Main Event and going forward for WWE, so we'll get there as well. Also, Adam Cole having to relinquish the TNT title. So thoughts and prayers to Adam Cole. But overall, I thought Saturday Night Main Event was fun until it wasn't, so we'll get right into that. So right out of the gate, we had Joe Tessitore and Jesse Ventura doing the thing they always do, cutting it up. And then right away, we'd get to the first match. That first match would be Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. I had thought Drew McIntyre was going to get the win here. After SmackDown, I was a little nervous, and this kind of showed why. So Jelly Roll comes out with Randy Orton, and everybody's singing the song for Randy Orton. Jelly Roll was into it. He's singing. I kind of wish they would have gave Jelly Roll a mic for that, for voices. That would have been kind of cool. Next, you get Drew McIntyre coming out with Logan Paul. And honestly, you sit there and think about it. The last two things Logan Paul's been in, he's been teamed with John Cena and Drew McIntyre. They're really putting him with some of the top guys. So I know a lot of people don't like Logan Paul, and I understand that. I get that. But WWE has big plans for Logan Paul. Basically, right away, we'd go to the outside, and Drew McIntyre would do the classic Randy Orton, dropping Randy Orton in the announce table. Not once, but twice. Now you go ahead and Drew gets some chops. He gets a headbutt in. Eventually, Randy gets the reversal. You get the nice vintage Orton power slam, right, from Randy Orton, the one we all love to see. At this point, Drew would roll out, and Randy goes to the outside with him and says, hey, you dropped me on the announce table twice. I'm going to one-up you. I'm going to do it not once, not twice, but 3 times. Boom, right on top. Then this match would start to get the shenanigans that you knew we were going to get. You had a Logan Paul distraction. Boom, Claymore kick. 1, 2. Randy's foot on the bottom rope there. Now you go ahead, you get into it. Jelly Roll doesn't like that. Jelly Roll's very upset with Logan Paul. How dare you almost cost my friend the match? We're going to get into it. Logan Paul pushes Jelly Roll a couple of times. Logan Paul pushes him one more time. Jelly Roll doesn't like that. Jelly Roll said, don't do that. Jelly Roll doesn't play that. So he goes ahead and pushes Jelly Roll one more time. Jelly Roll shoves Logan Paul to the ground. Logan Paul's in shock at this point. Drew McIntyre standing on the ropes like, what the hell is going on? What are you doing out there, Jelly Roll? Jelly Roll pretty much talks trash to Drew McIntyre. Hey, you got a problem with it? You got a problem with it? Let's go, basically. Well, Drew McIntyre turns around. Randy Orton is face down on the mat. Drew goes to lift him up. Boom! RKO out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. And honestly, that sounds pretty simple because that's all it was. That was the end of the match. Boom. But then all the fun stuff happens. Logan Paul comes to the ring. Boom! Titanium prime punch, as I like to call it, to Randy Orton. Bow! They go ahead. They start trying to destroy Randy Orton. Well, the whole crowd is cheering for Jelly Roll. Jelly, jelly, jelly. Admittedly, it's got me in my seat sitting there like, yeah, get him, Jelly Roll, get him. Yeah, I love this stuff. So Jelly Roll gets in, pretty much tosses Logan Paul aside just like he did on SmackDown. And you think to yourself, man, they're going to let Jelly Roll stand tall over Logan Paul again? Logan Paul's been wrestling. Boom! Out of nowhere. Claymore kick, Drew McIntyre to Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll's like on a knee, basically. So Drew McIntyre hits like a short Claymore kick. Bow! Right into Jelly Roll. Lays him out. Talks some trash. So all of these shenanigans end up leading to one thing. Kathy Kelly goes in the back and asks Randy Orton, how do you feel about that? You let your friend Jelly Roll down. Randy says, yeah, that's my fault. And Jelly Roll says, no, I'm a man. I want both of them. They think I'm soft, Randy, but I'm not soft. I'm a Jelly Roll is basically what he says. He says, I got him. I want him. Anytime, anywhere. Randy says, I've got one word for you. SummerSlam. We do find out later on in the night. Randy Orton and Jelly Roll will be taking on Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul at SummerSlam. And let me tell you, honestly, I think this is awful. Look, I get it. They probably didn't really have anything for Logan Paul after the John Cena stuff, which seems weird. I thought they would have some sort of plan with somebody. But to have Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre tied in with the Jelly Roll celebrity stuff, I'm not here for it. Now, at the end of the day, will I enjoy the match? Will it be a fun match? Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun. And at the end of the day, we can all laugh and say, ha ha, yeah, remember when Jelly Roll competed in a match? But there's so many other people that I think we should have on the card instead of Jelly Roll. And honestly, I really just want Randy versus Drew one more time. I understand they don't really have something for Logan Paul, and that's kind of where he comes into play. But you could just have something, right? You could have a Logan Paul open challenge, and anybody on the roster can go out there, become a face, destroy Logan Paul. Sign me up. So with that, let me know what you guys think about Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul versus Jelly Roll and Randy Orton. Am I overreacting a little bit? I might be. But at the end of the day, this was all fun stuff. It was very quick at Saturday Night Main Event, so I'm going to go ahead and pop it, but it is a very slight pop. Next, we will be hyping up Evolution, showing all the superstars that are going to be there. Also, by the way, if you're not already aware, live stream tomorrow, Evolution here, COD WrestlePod. Io Sky's there, Rhea Ripley's there. They're showing them, they're posing. You got Jade posing, and Jade's showing out. Jade's flexing the muscles. She's doing the storm is coming. She's doing her signature pose. When Naomi, boom, attacks out of nowhere, flips her over the barricade. A wild brawl ensues. I'm talking about Naomi gets the upper hand. Jade gets the upper hand. Jade throws Naomi onto the table. Well, Naomi doesn't like that. Naomi gets up on the table and just jumps on Jade and a bunch of security that are at this point. And at that point, Nick Aldis gets on the steps and says, you know what? You guys have a no-holds-barred match tomorrow, and I have one more condition I was going to talk to you guys about. But since you guys don't want to be professional, I'll just do it right here, right now. That match will have a special guest referee, and it is the EST. Bianca Belair is back in WWE now. She returns from her injury. She's going to be the special guest referee for Naomi and Jade. I couldn't be happier for this. I think it's a real chance for Bianca to kind of pick a side here in the friendship. Does she go with Jade? Does she go with Naomi? Now, if you want to go ahead and you want to look at the SummerSlam plans, Jade already has Tiffany, so that kind of locks that up. I think you have Bianca trying to be a fair official, trying to call things right down the middle. Naomi might not see it that way. Naomi might be a little bit unhinged, obviously, and she might take things the wrong way. That leads to Naomi versus Bianca at SummerSlam. You can sign me up for all of this stuff. This was honestly a short segment of the night, but I thought this stuff was great. I'm going to go ahead and pop it. So at this point, you would get Jimmy Uso versus Solo Sakoa for the United States Championship. Jimmy Uso comes out on his own. Solo Sakoa comes out with the MFTs, his family tree, which honestly, the name sucks. We need a new name for that. Also, the font on the shirt, it sucks. I don't like it. The shirt idea, it is design. Most of the merch is not good anyway. But he comes out with the MFTs. Jimmy comes out by himself, and honestly, Jimmy was showing out the entire night. Jimmy had an MVP performance tonight. He was that damn good tonight in the ring. So basically, right out of the gate, you get a suicide dive by Big Jim to Solo Sakoa. They get back in the ring. Big Jim climbs up to the top rope, goes for like a crossbody. Solo Sakoa catches it spinning solo. Well, at this point, kind of the shenanigans would come into play. They go back and forth. Big Jim got a lot of offense in this match. He goes out to the outside, and he kind of just looks at Tala Tonga. Boom! Clothesline. So after that, we come back from commercial break. Big Jim has Solo Sakoa on the outside on the apron. Does a German suplex to Solo Sakoa on the hardest part of the ring. At this point, you'd get a top rope crossbody. You'd get tribal cheeks by Big Jim. Solo ends and an Uso splash. Solo would kick out at 2 at this point. You'd end up getting 2 super kicks by Big Jim. Solo rolls out. And Jim just climbs to the top rope, and this is what I mean by he showed out tonight. Hits a whisper in the wind to everybody but Tala Tonga. So it's Solo, JC, and the GOAT, Tonga Loa. So Solo goes back in the ring at this point. Jim really turns his attention to the giant that's on the outside. Kind of kicks him a few times here and there. Boom, bow. Well, he goes to kick him one more time, and he misses at this point. And at this point, Solo basically has Jim. He like pulls Big Jim through the bottom rope for a roll-up, and Tala Tonga is so massive, he just puts his foot and pushes on Solo to give him the leverage. 1, 2, 3. Solo Sakoa retains by some shenanigans, kind of like how we thought here. And a match that honestly I thought was pretty dang good. I like. But here's when the fun stuff started to happen. So then Solo Sakoa and everybody would kind of beat down on Big Jim, right? You get a Solo spike onto Big Jim, and at this point everybody's chanting 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2. Well, Jacob 5, 2 music hits after Big Jim's kind of already been disposed of. But Big Jim comes out, and he's got a cool new shirt on. I hope they sell the shirt. It's the werewolf in like a shiesty that he likes to wear. Thought that was actually a really cool shirt. I might look into getting that. And at this point, Jacob Fatu just really starts to clean house on everybody. And that's when Tala Tonga gets in the ring, and you see him versus Jacob Fatu, and you see, oh my God, Tala Tonga is a massive human being. I understand why they call him Tala. I mean, I understand he's 7 foot tall, but he's huge. Well, Jacob Fatu doesn't back down. They go back and forth. Bang, 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 bang. Turns out Tala Tonga gets a big boot. And at this point, he goes one more time. Jacob's up against the ropes. He goes to run to kind of clothesline him over the ropes. Jacob moves, pulls the ropes. Boom, there goes Tala Tonga. And at this point, Jacob sees him and Solo on the outside and says, you know what, I want to have a little fun. Boom, suicide dive, takes them out. All in all, I thought this was a fun match. I thought this was fun. This was exciting. It was pretty quick. Big Jim got a lot of offense in, which is nice to see Big Jim get some offense in here. And Solo retained. Honestly, I think this is kind of the perfectly booked match. And at this point, this is where the sad stuff kind of really starts to happen. So you have LA Knight versus Seth Rollins. And at this point, the match honestly is going fine. It's going well. It's honestly a pretty decent match from everybody. The game is for LA's ribs to kind of continue to be hurting after Braun Breaker and them just kind of destroyed him on SmackDown, right? So, but you do have LA Knight getting a bunch of offense in on Seth on the outside. You end up having Seth hit a gut buster, hit a frog splash. You end up getting a clothesline, a neck breaker, and then a DDT by LA Knight into the LA elbow. You got a really cool sequence where LA tries to do his running up the ropes superplex. Seth kind of slips out of it, carries him all across the ring, buckle bomb, boom. Here's where it gets bad. At this point, Seth has LA Knight on the ground. He does like a flipping senton into the ring, goes to do a moonsault back onto him. LA rolls out of the way. Seth Rollins lands on his knee, and his knee buckles. And at this point, Seth kind of crawls over into the corner. Medical staff comes out. The doctor does come out. Seth Rollins is talking to the medical staff at this point, and you can see him telling him something. At this point, Seth Rollins gets up and eats a BFT right away. 1, 2, 3. LA Knight gets the win. So the main concern here, obviously, though, is Seth Rollins' knee. It does look like there is an injury scare with Seth Rollins right now. Everything I've seen is up to date right now as recording this, which is right after Saturday Night Main Event. Says that it is an injury scare. They're not exactly sure, I would say. I heard that they carried Seth to the back. I'm not really sure. I know a lot of people were pretty much hoping, hey, he'll come in and he'll try to cash in later on in the night. Well, spoiler alert, that didn't happen. So hopefully Seth Rollins is okay. We'll wait and see what happens. Everything I've seen says that it's legitimate. Hopefully there's thoughts and prayers to Seth Rollins, because at this point, that leaves a big hole on Monday Night Raw and really kind of just the WWE as a whole. I mean, yes, you have the faction, right? But you have Plan B that was kind of in the works. Sounds like they'll probably have to expedite Plan B. Obviously, Seth Rollins' health is first and foremost the most importance. But you look at it now in terms of the Money in the Bank briefcase. I understand he has a year to kind of hold out on that. But you had Seth involved in so many different things with so many different people. Hey, there's the feud thing with Penta. There's Jade. There's LA Knight. There's Roman Reigns, who is rumored to return tonight on Saturday Night Main Event. So it's really just a worst case scenario for Seth Rollins. Hopefully he is okay. If he's not, hopefully it is a speedy, quick recovery. Hopefully it was maybe just a scare. Let's be overly cautious about it. Let's make sure we give Seth the time to come back. In the meantime, Paul Heyman, you're up. Time to do the talking again, Paul Heyman. Admittedly, this is kind of what a lot of people wanted to see. They wanted to see Paul Heyman continue to kind of do the talking, which is nice. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed both cut a decent promo on Raw this week. So hopefully at this point, we can see Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed kind of elevate a little bit with the help of Paul Heyman. You can have those two guys kind of be the enforcers. Paul can be the mouthpiece while Seth gets healthy. And hopefully, like I said, thoughts and prayers to Seth. Hopefully he is okay. Now with Roman Reigns, I don't really know what the plan is going to be with Roman Reigns. I think everybody had kind of penciled in Roman versus Seth at SummerSlam. Well, it sounds like we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to do something quick. But now, it's time for the fun. It's time for the main event. Yes, that is right. Gunther, who comes out first as the champ, is fighting against Goldberg in his final match in his adopted hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. Let me tell you, this kind of surprised me. Well, I shouldn't say kind of. This did surprise me. So early on in the story is Goldberg is as strong as an ox, which honestly, when he entered in the ring and when he was coming out for his entrance, you could tell Goldberg was hurting. So props to Goldberg for really kind of pushing through tonight. But he is strong as an ox. Gunther's continuing to kind of push him, continuing to chop him, and he's just throwing Gunther around. He ends up hitting a couple of chops on him. He hits a clothesline on him. So then you go ahead. Gunther ends up getting a reversal, and he attacks the knee. So Goldberg, they had mentioned throughout the night, early in the night at least, hey, Goldberg has a bad knee and a bad shoulder. Well, he had a heavy-duty brace on that, and that'd pretty much be the game plan for Gunther. So it ends up Gunther rolls out of the ring after Goldberg tries to go for a spear, and Gunther's kind of next to the close barricade by the camera. Well, Goldberg goes ahead and Irish whips him, and Gunther does like a somersault, which, I mean, athletic ability by Gunther. Gunther's over there by that breakable barricade. Boom! Goldberg goes to hit it. Well, Gunther moves out of the way. Right through the barricade goes Bill Goldberg. We go to commercial break, and Gunther would continue to attack the knee over and over and over again. And at this point, Goldberg comes back. He ends up trying to hit a spear on Gunther. Gunther would move out of the way. Baby Nate, I don't know who he got upset this week, who he made mad this month, I guess. But Baby Nate takes another ref bump, gets speared by Goldberg here. He probably honestly liked it this time, kind of throwback to some WCW days. But at this point, Gunther would take off the brace and just start hitting Goldberg with it. He would actually end up walking around to Gage, Goldberg's son, flexing it a little bit, trying to like jokingly break it. pushes Gage. Gage jumps the barricade, gets pulled back by security. And at this point, Gunther's just laughing, goes to get back in the ring. Goldberg does hit a spear at this point. Boom. Well, and then Goldberg gets him up. Jackhammer. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God. I know they were going to do this. I know they were going to tease it, but they're teasing me real good with it. And at this point, the dream would kind of come to an end because a ref does come out at this point. You do only get a 1-2. That's when Gunther goes ahead, slaps on the sleeper hold onto Goldberg. Goldberg puts up a decent fight here, but he ends up just passing out to Gunther. They call the match. Gunther is still your world champ. Obviously, no Seth Rollins cash in because of what happened earlier in the night. They go ahead and they give Goldberg a promo at the end of it. They cut to a random commercial with like 3 minutes left in the show. And then they give Goldberg like a minute, not even a minute, maybe 30 seconds to try to thank everybody. And then it cuts off air right in the middle of the promo. So I'm going to drop that because I thought that was terrible. I mean, you got to give the guy some time here. But like I said, at the end of the day, Gunther does retain over Goldberg. And honestly, what I thought was a fun match. I know everybody thought, oh, maybe 10 minutes max. Well, this got a lot of time. Yes, it may be because of the injury and they had to kind of pivot and just give this a little bit more time. But I thought it was a really good match. I thought Goldberg, yes, he looked slow. He looked a little bit old. But you know what? Far exceeded my expectations tonight. Gunther continued to play the bully over and over and over again, attacking the weak points of Goldberg, even getting Gage involved, really continuing to just be that big bully on Raw, that champion bully. And I'm really starting to enjoy Gunther's title run. And you look at it off of that in terms of what's next for Gunther, I don't really know. I could have obviously said Seth Rollins with a cash-in potential, but I think maybe a sure, easy, quick pivot would be CM Punk. SummerSlam is just 3 weeks away, so they're going to have to act fast, and they're going to have to act fast as soon as Raw on Monday this week. But enough about the current WWE stuff. I do want to say thank you, Goldberg. It's been a hell of a ride. It's been a lot of fun. I know you tend to get a lot of hate out there, Goldberg, which undeservedly so sometimes. I think that a lot of people just think it's cool to kind of hate on Goldberg. I really enjoyed Goldberg at times throughout his career. He really helped push and elevate wrestling to really kind of get it to where this point because Goldberg was the big thing in WCW. And he had some really good, fun stuff in WWE as well. But with that, it is a end of a chapter, an end of a book, an end of a story for Goldberg. We'll see what's next for him. Hopefully he has some fun and has some things planned out for himself. I'm sure his son would probably love to get involved in some WWE stuff. So who knows down the line. But I just want to say thank you, Goldberg. You went out. You did a great job tonight. You gave it everything you got, even when you were hurting. So props to you for that. And I want to say props to each and every one of you for joining us for the AEW live stream, for the Saturday Night Main Event stream. All the love and support this week of a busy weekend that's not quite over. Didn't even mention Bash this week for NXT. NXT had Great American Bash. That was fantastic. That was awesome. But it's not over because we do have Evolution tonight, live stream at COD Wrestle Pod, COD Wrestle Pod for Evolution. I think it's going to be a hell of a card. I think it's going to steal the show. I think it's going to steal the weekend. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see each and every one of you there. So make sure to stop on by, watch the live stream, give us a like, share with friends, subscribe. Make sure to also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, all of our socials, everything wrestling, everywhere you can find it, every social. Linktree is in the bio. But as always, I am Brandon, one half of the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and I'll see you guys tonight for Evolution.